Hey guys, it's Miss Griffith. I'm out sick today, but I still wanted to be able to walk you through how to write your argument essays and get you started on that. So, the first thing we need to talk about is what are you writing about? So, here is our prompt. Atticus says simply because we were licked 100 years before we started is no reason for us not to try to win. Now that you've read the whole text, what do you think? Given what you've learned about Atticus, does it make sense for Atticus to take a stand to defend Tom Robinson? Give evidence from the text to support your thinking, and be sure to take into account what people who disagree might say. So, again, this looks a lot like the prompt from yesterday because it is almost the exact same prompt, just we're changing it from Mr. Bose to Atticus. All right, so your paper is focused on should Atticus take a stand to defend Tom Robinson. So when we're thinking about why or why not, I want you to use that character chart, those posters that we created that are hung up on the wall. So think of Atticus as a person, just like how they used Miss DeBose's character traits of high expectations and courage. You're going to use character traits for Atticus to argue that he should have taken a stand to defend Tom Robinson. So you can use those posters, and you can also use the papers that you use to plan out those posters. So if I've not passed those out to you yet, they should be in the out drawer for each class. So if someone wants to grab those papers and pass them out, or if you want to run over there and grab just your paper so that you have that when you're outlining your essay. So we're looking at Atticus and defending Tom Robinson. We need to think of the two best reasons why he should take a stand and defend Tom Robinson. So before you even start typing your essay, you need to plan out, well, what are my reasons and what are my evidence to support those reasons? So you should have an argument essay outline. If the sub has not passed them out, they're on the gray table up front and they look similar to this. Sorry, wrong tab. So you're just going to start out by stating your claim and give me reason 1, reason 2. So these are the character traits that show that Atticus should defend Tom Robinson. Then here you're going to list your evidence. So you need 2 pieces of evidence, so make sure we have evidence and page number, evidence and page number. For some reason, page number didn't print up here on the top. Sorry about that, but just know you need 2 pieces of evidence and support from the page numbers. Okay, then go ahead and plan out your counterclaim. So, what's a reason why someone should say he shouldn't have defended Tom Robinson? And that was actually your bell ringer from yesterday, so you should kind of already have an idea of what goes in that counterclaim. Give the evidence for that counterclaim, and then hit it with the rebuttal. So, however, restate that claim, give another reason to support your claim that proves the counterclaim wrong, and evidence for that rebuttal. So you're really just doing a very basic outline of what your essay is going to be about. So now we're going to walk through it step by step. So you can listen to this video and kind of pause and go along, but I also have resources up for you on Google Classroom. So it's argument essay materials, and you're going to find the rubric from yesterday so you know exactly what needs to be in every single part of your essay, and then also an outline. So a very basic outline. Here's things to know before you start. So we're not using I, me, my, we, us. Those are out. We're not using them at all. These are a list of banned words. So we already know about shows. We're not going to say well, stupid, dumb, things, stuff. All right, those are not 8th grade level words. We talked about a lot yesterday, not an 8th grade level word. Ways to start our counterclaim. I've got a little cheat sheet there for you, and another very basic outline. So there's really no excuse for you to say, I don't know what to write, or I don't know what comes next, because it's on your outline that you filled out. It's here for you uploaded to Google Classroom, and I'm walking you through it step by step in this video. So if I come back tomorrow and you're sitting there with a blank paper, you're going to get lunch detention because I know that you just simply did not want to do your work. All right, now that that spiel is over, we're going to start with filling out the essay outline. So go ahead and pause the video here and fill out that outline. The outline needs to be turned in to me before you leave, so that first thing in the morning when I come back tomorrow, I can look over those outlines and make sure everybody's on the right track. So pause the video and work on that outline. All right, now that your outline's done, you can go ahead and start typing. So we're going to start with the introduction, just like we talked about yesterday. Start with a hook. Typically, that's going to be a question or a quote from the text that kind of goes along with what you're talking about. So a quote about defending Tom Robinson or from the trial. Give that brief summary of the important parts that we need to know to understand why Atticus would take a stand for Tom Robinson. And then end with your claim and your reasons listed out in the order that you're going to talk about them in. Again, don't use I, me, my, etc. So pause the video here and type your introduction. Alright, now on to body paragraph 1. So we're going to need to use a transition word of some sort. So to begin with, to start, kind of shy away from using first, next, last. We're above that now that we're in 8th grade. But think of something to transition into that first reason. Make sure this paragraph is all about the first reason listed in your introduction, the last sentence of your introduction. I'm going to fix my typo. Alright, the rest of your paragraph is completely and totally structured like a race response, just like we talked about yesterday. So restate and answer is given that prompt again and your reason for why you believe what you believe. Give context, cite, explain, and then go back and do it all over again for your second piece. So context, cite, explain. Make sure your context tells all the needed information, and make sure the explanations are doing more than just repeating your evidence. Okay, you're going to do the same thing for body paragraph 2. This is the exact same slide. The only thing that has changed is you are talking about your second reason. So pause the video here and work on body paragraphs 1 and 2. Alright, big thing with our argument is you got to have the counterclaim and rebuttal. So make sure we're starting with one of those counterclaim transitions. You'll find that over here. So remember I told you you got this little cheat sheet available for you. Here's different ways to start your counterclaim. There's all kinds of different ways. So make sure we're kind of varying it up and finding the one that fits best with our essay. Okay, you've got to give that, here's the other claim, here's a reason for that claim. Support that with evidence. Use your model essay. They had a great counterclaim. But the most important part that they didn't do too well on the model essay is the rebuttal. So you got to give a solid, strong reason that shows the counterclaim is weak. Okay, it shows that the counterclaim is just not as strong as what you have to say about the topic. Make sure you're supporting it with context, evidence, and a strong explanation. So pause the video here and work on your counterclaim. Alright, last part, easiest part, conclusion. We're just restating that prompt and reviewing our reasons real quick. Sometimes it can be done in 3 or 4 sentences. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, just reviewing what you've already talked about. So pause the video here and work on your conclusion. Alright, once you're done with everything, I need you to go back and reread that for grammar. Simple things. Capitalizing Atticus. Apostrophe S if it's showing ownership. Underlining or italicizing the title of the book. Those simple things. Another thing I want to point out for you on this little cheat sheet, notice that all your evidence needs to end with the author's last name and the page number. So the author's last name is Lee, and if it's on page 33, we need to put that in parentheses at the end of each piece of evidence. Okay, we need to start working on citing our evidence from the correct sources. Also, before you even think about turning it in, grade yourself. Go through and really ask yourself, if I were the teacher, just like I played that role the other day in class, would I give myself a 10 out of 10 for all of these things? If the answer is no, you are not ready to turn your essay in. Okay, you need to go back and rethink some things, reword some things, have a friend look over it. This is our last grade for this 9 weeks. It's a test grade. If you're sitting on the bubble of a C or a B and you want an A, this is your last opportunity to do that. Okay, so make sure we're reading through these and we're double checking on these things before we turn it in. Alright, if you have any other questions, write them down, jot them down. I'll be hopefully feel better and be back tomorrow to answer those questions so that we can finish this up before we take our benchmark at the end of the week.